So the Trump administration just struck a country that had more oil than Iraq. And I'm officially checking in over here at Moments with Us. You all check in. Let us know where you're watching from and how you are doing. Of course, I'm checking in from Northern New Jersey. To this Dollar Tree over in Maplewood. Still was also A plus.
These past few years showed me.
Hey fam, welcome back to another video. You guys, today is Saturday, so happy Saturday. Hopefully you all are doing well. This is Shauna, and I'm officially checking in over here at Moments with Us. You all check in. Let us know where you're watching from and how you are doing. Of course, I'm checking in from Northern New Jersey. All right, so let's find out what this strike against Venezuela really means. Let's see if it means higher gas prices, what's going to go on with the oil. Man, let's just dive right into it. Are we in trouble or what? What the U.S. strike in Venezuela means for gas prices and the largest proven oil reserve on the darn planet, guys. All right, so President Nicholas was captured already, flown out of the country. He was already flown out the country, guys, following a large-scale U.S. strike on Caracas, leaving behind uncertainty for the country and its massive oil reserves. So the Trump administration just struck a country with more oil than Iraq, y'all. So Venezuela is sitting on a massive 303 billion barrels worth of crude, about a fifth of the world's global reserves. And this is according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration. So if their info is up to date and they got all of the correct data, then they know exactly what they're talking about, right? So that trove of crude will play a central role in the country's future. So do that mean like gas prices about to go up? All the energy, like who does that affect? Does that affect us? I would believe so, fam. I would definitely believe so. So that's something to watch out for. We're going to keep an eye on those gas prices at least. So oil futures don't trade on the weekend. So the near-term impact on the price of oil is a bit of a guessing game and quite dependent on how the next couple of days actually shake out. So Maduro's socialist government has been unfriendly to the global oil industry and allowed its infrastructure to crumble. It's unclear in the immediate aftermath of the strike what the political future of Venezuela holds and whether the next government will keep a tight grip on its dilapidated oil industry or unlock its potential with a friendlier stance to the international market, guys. So for oil that has the potential for a historic event, Hugo Chavez basically ransacked the Venezuelan oil industry. The U.S. Secretary of State Marco said the U.S. action in Venezuela has ended after Maduro was actually captured. Mr. Trump here on Saturday this morning said that he didn't want anyone running the country who would continue Maduro's footstep. So Maduro's removal opens the possibility of a power vacuum, which could put the future of Venezuela's politics in doubt. The United States recognized Edmundo Gonzalez as the rightful president of Venezuela. All right, so they already have a new president. So the next 24 to 48 hours will be huge. If we see signs that Venezuelan military supports the opposition, that'll be a big win for the global markets. On the flip side, if there's a sense that this will lead to further conflict or a civil war in Venezuela, we'll get the opposite reaction. All right, so control of Venezuela's oil trove. They saying it is home of the largest proven oil reserve on Earth, fam, on Earth. But its potential far outweighs its actual output. So Venezuela produces only about 1 million barrels of oil per day, about 0.8% of the global crude production. So that's less than half of what it produced before Maduro took control of the country in 2013, and less than a third of the 3.5 million barrels it was pumping before it took over. So international sanctions on the Venezuelan government and the deep economic crisis contributed to the decline of the country's oil industry. But so did a lack of investment and maintenance, guys. So Venezuela's energy infrastructure is deteriorating, and its capacity to produce oil has been greatly diminished over the years. That's why even if Venezuela's oil supply is completely cut off from the rest of the world, in the aftermath of the U.S. strike, oil prices and their derivatives, like gasoline, probably won't surge out of control. The country just doesn't produce enough oil to make that big of a difference. So oil prices have been in check this year because of the oversupply fears. OPEC has ramped up production, but demand has fallen off a bit as the global economy continues to struggle with inflation and affordability after the post-pandemic price shock. We all feeling it. So U.S. oil briefly rose about $60 a barrel when the Trump administration began seizing oil from Venezuelan vessels. But it has since fallen to $57 a barrel again. So that market's reaction, if investors believe the strike is bad news for the oil supply, will almost certainly be muted. So we actually won't feel it. So psychologically, it might give it a bit of a boost, but Venezuela has oil that can be easily replaced by a combination of global producers. And then they talk about the Venezuela oil potential. The United States, the world's largest producer, has light sweet crude, which is good for making gasoline, but not much else. So heavy sour crude, like the oil from Venezuela, is crucial for certain products made in the refining process, including diesel, guys, diesel, which is really used for those big trucks, right? And then we got to think about the factories and how they fuel their heavy equipment and stuff. So diesel is in tight supply around the world, in large parts because of the sanctions of the Venezuelan oil. So they're saying unlocking the Venezuelan oil could be particularly beneficial for the United States. Venezuela is nearby and its oil is relatively cheap. So it would be a good thing if they can tap in and unlock it. But at the same time, I'm glad to hear that our regular gas prices won't really be affected, as they say, right? Because we be reading this stuff and then a month in and we start to see something totally different, right? They saying if indeed this continues to go smoothly, and it looks like a masterful operation so far, y'all, and the U.S. companies are allowed to go back and rebuild in Venezuelan oil industry, it could be a game changer for the global oil market. So it actually might be a good thing if everything, stay on the same path, on a good path. It might be a good thing, and maybe. So bottom line, do this really have a real big effect on the U.S.? In a way, yes, the U.S. strike do have effects on the United States, but not necessarily in a straightforward way. There's things like limited immediate economic harm. There's no major U.S. oil supply shock yet. We will see like maybe regional disruptions, air travel and shipping, of course, is affected. Diplomatic costs, strained relations with Latin American countries, and global critics, guys. Certain security risks, potential for deeper involvement in unexpected consequences. So it's like still like up in the air. So the strike doesn't severely hurt the U.S. domestic economy right now, but it creates risks and diplomatic costs that could matter over time. So that's why we got to see, are they going to come up with a deal? Like what's going to happen? Especially if the conflict escalates or persists. So this is something that, they kind of want to put they hands on now and kind of settle it. Because if not, then we can see the effects of this. Like I said, they did say like maybe everything's going in a good direction, but we don't know until everything's settled. So if you know anything about New York, or if you're from New York, you lived in New York, especially like in their project areas, their low income areas, anywhere around their buildings, such as Brooklyn or the Bronx. What's some other places? I don't know about Queens, but I know definitely Brooklyn. I know definitely the Bronx. They have a lot of those low income buildings where there's a lot of complaints. We've seen it all over the news, all over social media, where tenants are actually uploading big rats the size of cats walking across their counter. Roaches the size of water bugs that belong in the South. Y'all know we in Jersey. Well, we in Jersey. We up north, to put it like that. We don't see bugs like y'all see in the South, put it like that. So yeah, so the new mayor that did take over, over the year, he did say that he's trying to take care of the whole situation, how those tenants are living. Those complaints have not been taken care of. He's trying to put his foot down on that as well. So let's see exactly what he has. New York, we might just have a problem. So hours after taking office, NYC Mayor Mamdani targets landlords move to intervene in private bankruptcy case. So 3 orders created tenants protection and task force to accelerate housing development. So let's see. So sworn in at midnight and again hours later publicly, New York City Mayor Zaran used his first day in office Thursday to hit the ground running with new executive orders targeting city landlords and housing developments. And he said the city will take what he called precedent-setting action to intervene in a private landlord bankruptcy case he said was tied to 93 darn buildings. My gosh. Today is the start of a new era for New York City, he says. Man, it's an inauguration day. It is also the day that the rent is due. Speaking at a Brooklyn apartment building he was at, Mamdani framed the moves as an early test of whether city government will directly confront landlords over the housing conditions and step into court cases that could determine whether tenants remain in their homes. Mamdani said New Yorkers who attended his inauguration were returning to apartments where, he said, bad landlords do not make repairs. Rents rise and residents deal with issues like cockroaches and a lack of heat. The mayor said the new administration will not wait to deliver action and will stand up on behalf of the tenants of the city. That's what I'm talking about, because New York, man, some of them buildings over there in New York will be infested with rats the size of cats, roaches the size of real water bugs that you get from the south, like you can see in the South. Like, it's ridiculous. So I do hope that something is done, over there. He said we will make that 311 violations, make sure that those violations are resolved. They're trying to get rid of the slumlord. So if you own a property and you ain't been keeping up with it, and you know for sure that tenant been daggone texting you, calling you, letting you know that their ceiling been leaking, right? They've been letting you know that X, Y, and Z need repairs, and you just been taking a rent and not daggone doing what you need to do. You better step up. You best to step up, because he is coming to sweep all of y'all out. And I'm sure it's the same thing like with certain tenants. If they have not been playing their part and then just purposely messing up these places, I'm sure that there's going to be, some fault that need to be, taken with those tenants as well. So we'll see what happens. Mamdani said the building is one of 93 properties connected to the same landlord. That person, whoever that landlord is getting rich. He got 93 buildings. Wow. He said the mayor said that the buildings will be auctioned to a different landlord if he cannot get it together. This person made the city's worst landlords list. Wow. Adding the buildings collectively have more than 5,000 open hazardous violations and 14,000 complaints. Wow, that's unacceptable for real. That is unacceptable. Well, we'll see what happens. They need to do that all over the place for real, though. Our mayors need to come on now. And then the uncontrollable rent, the amount that some of these landlords boost up the rent. Some tenants don't know. If you look at your tenant's little booklet, you can get it online too. It'll let you know if your landlord can go up a certain amount of money, because some people really just be paying that money and trying to come up with the money just because they don't want to move. They're scared to move because rent is so high. And with, oh my goodness. And with the economy being the way it is, a lot of those people are in low income housing. You can't just get up and say, hey, I'm gonna move into another low income housing unit. It don't work like that. There's a waiting list involved. There's a lot of steps involved before you can even get up and go. um so yeah, hopefully he can definitely take care of the tenants. Hopefully everybody just do their part this way. Nobody should be living like that. I don't care if they're paying $1 for rent. I don't care if they're paying $1 for rent. No one should be living under those conditions. And the landlords are really messed up who own 90 something properties. Come on. Did y'all see all those complaints? Come on. It's ridiculous. But yes, so he do make promises to those tenants that he will be taking care of the issues, at least try to, or, hold someone responsible. I know that they're trying to auction off some of those buildings because it's too many. So there's too many open violations in these buildings. They did start something called the speed test, all caps SPEED, which can kind of jumpstart taking care of these issues, which is great. It kind of helps put, a policy in place to jumpstart, to address the issues that they're having in the buildings now. Just hopefully it can be taken care of, because I've personally seen some of the stuff that's going on in some of those buildings. And yeah, like I said, no one should be living under those conditions. You got elderly people that's living in those conditions. Like I said, I always say I'm not the type to sit there and judge the person. Their situation is their situation. Everybody been set on a different journey, and it is what it is. We are not one to judge. And I'll be seeing some of the comments, and some of you guys are reckless with it. Like, you can, like, no heart at all. Granted, maybe some people put themselves in a situation, but like I said, everyone's situation is everyone's situation. And right about now, we're about 3 feet. Some of us is about 3 feet from being in the same person's situation. You never know. You know what I'm saying? So who are we to judge? Listen, just hopefully they're taken care of. Hopefully their living situation can get better, and maybe that can jumpstart them to living a better life in general. So from the strike on Venezuela down to the New York City living situation, what's next? There's so much to discuss, but it is the weekend. I know that this video was supposed to have been uploaded on Saturday, but this holiday lag is real. I'm busy getting the kids ready back for school. And honestly, I really don't do this, but I waited till last minute to get a lot of stuff done for the kids and getting stuff done around the house. But you know what? I'm only human, and it is what it is. So I've kind of been rushed. I know I took them out yesterday, guys, for those of you who want to, hear about the personal life a little bit. So I did take them out Saturday. Today is actually Sunday when the video would be uploaded. We went out and I took them to Chuck E. Cheese, as I always do. We got our little membership away that we saved to still have fun. We pay $11.99 for a Chuck E. Cheese membership, where they get 100 points, which they have to split though. They can get 100 play points every single day it reloads. I can go to Chuck E. Cheese, and I'm sure they'll get tired of it because we go like every weekend and they're already tired of it. I can get 100 points every single day at Chuck E. Cheese for the kids, and 30% off on food and drinks and everything else. They have a little jump park. I upload a little bit of pictures here. And that's another way that we save. We still spend money, but we save, if we want to go out. Because every time I go out, like, I don't ever go adult out. I go out that's kidly out. So I go out with my kids. So yeah, we save that way. Is $11.99 a month, and honestly, you can't beat it. If I wanted to take them to Chuck E. Cheese every single day, I can, and don't have to worry about coming out of my pocket if they're just doing the play points. They don't always necessarily eat there. I bring my own, their own snacks and drinks and everything. Sometimes I'll get them a pizza, but it is 30% off. So yeah, I think to me, for my family, it works for $11.99 a month. It's a subscription, but I can use it daily only for a low cost. To me, that's very much worth it. I'll put their plan here as well. But yeah, that's something that we do to kind of like their kids. I'm a mom. Kids get overstimulated. Moms get overstimulated. Chuck E. Cheese is our outlet for low cost. And it is what it is. So, yes, so much going on right now in the world, but we're going to leave this right here where it's at because that's what we had to cover. That whole New York situation, I hope something is done for them. We're not seeing no effects yet on that whole strike situation, thank God, and hopefully we don't, just because how much more can we all take? So hopefully you all enjoyed the holidays. Let us know what kind of things you have planned for this year or even just the week ahead. Some people don't plan that far. Some people it's just day by day. Yeah, that's pretty much it, family. We're going to leave this video right here where it's at. I want to thank you all for coming along. Thank you all for being here. And until next time, y'all, this is Shauna, and I'm officially checking out for Moments with Us. If you are new here and you did enjoy today's video, all you have to do is subscribe, just like that. Wait, I think it's that. And if you've been here before, of course, thank you so much for coming back. Until next time, you all stay prepped, stay blessed, stay safe. And most of all, now she leaves. And most of all, remain beautiful queens and kings. Love you all and God bless. Peace.